On the recording here. Hello, everybody. I'm happy to have you. I am excited to be talking about this because I've got some really great material that's coming. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Simply Irresistible and how it's changed. It's morphed a lot in the last 6 months, and I think it's just an amazing program, and I can't wait to talk about it. But we're going to go through what I promised first. We may still have some other people come in, and I am recording so that people can get a copy of it tomorrow. Um, but it's not going to be out there for the public. This is strictly for people who have signed up and maybe couldn't make it for some reason, or, there's a good reason for it. But I don't use it publicly. And if I decided I wanted to, I would certainly ask your permission first. Privacy is extremely important to me when we talk about things of the heart. Okay, so I am going to first share my screen and let's see. That isn't the one. That isn't the one. Please don't laugh at the state of my desktop. I have been very, very busy. Okay. How many of you, is there anybody here who is familiar with nervous system work? Anybody?
No.
Okay, great. So I am going to teach it in bite-sized, non-neuroscientist language because I'm not a neuroscientist. If I tried to talk like one, you would laugh. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to talk about is nervous system and the perspective of what will help us in our dating. And how I came to this is you've all heard my story a million times. I'm not going to keep going over it. But the reason why I think that I was finally able to find love at the time that I did with the very good man that I found love with was because, excuse me, I'd spent the last couple of years doing nervous system work with a lot of women. And so at the end of that, I was in a much better place. I know that doesn't make sense yet, but I'm going to start showing you a little bit so that you at least understand enough to help you tonight. I go into this a lot more deeply in Simply Irresistible. So we've already talked about where you're from. You don't have to do it again. The class is recorded. You're going to get your replay probably tomorrow because after tonight, I'm going to go pass out on the couch. But stay to the end because I have something for you to hear about. So the title, You Keep Meeting the Same Man in a Different Outfit, came because I started thinking about all the women I've heard say, my dad was an alcoholic and I worked so hard to find a man who wasn't an alcoholic and he didn't even drink until we were married for 2 years and then he became an alcoholic. Damn it. Like I tried so hard and this happened and I don't know why. Or I will tell you, in my case, I was very close to my dad. My dad was a wonderful man. He was not an ogre by any means. When I was at my very youngest, um, I'd say from like 4 to 15 in that area. He was extremely busy working to make a living for the family. There were 5 kids in my family, so you can only imagine what that looked like. Plus, I had 3 brothers and a sister in sports. I was not the sporty type. I wasn't in sports for very long. But so dad was either working or he was going to the baseball games, the soccer games, the football games, whatever it was. And the way my little 5-year-old self interpreted this is that men are distant. Men just are. They are distant. They can't tell you they love you. They're not terribly affectionate. They hold you at arm's length. That was not a correct assumption of my dad at all, but that's the way 5-year-old me interpreted that. And so as I grew older and I'm trying to date, and I will say that when I was, like 5, 6, I was always doing something for dad's approval. I was always trying to get his attention and get his approval. But he died 20 years ago of prostate cancer, and we said everything we ever needed to say to each other then. And I was able to let him go. I grieved terribly, but I don't hold any resentment over him over any of this anymore because I know he did his best at the time. And a lot of this was my interpretation. It wasn't necessarily factual. So, anyway, um, fast forward when I start dating at age 16, what do I start looking for? I start looking for the guys who showed maybe a little attention, but they didn't show enough attention. They didn't keep showing me attention. They didn't show a lot of interest. They weren't necessarily affectionate. They were just like, well, they were horny, like all 15, 16, 17-year-old boys are, but still it was distant. And so I'd had these massive crushes and think I was just madly in love with these kind of guys for years when they didn't even show that much attention to me. This is how this came about in my life. And this is the pattern that ran within me up until my 50s when I did all that work for a couple of years that I didn't even know to call nervous system work then. But that's what was going on. So that's how it worked in me. I was meeting the same guy in a different outfit. They were all distant. They had different names. They looked different. They were different ages. They were blah, 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 blah. They were different guys, but we always ended up with the same thing. So this is the sentence that used here. Your dad was distant, so you swore you'd never go for a distant person, and somehow they were. You would go for the unavailable ones, which was my story, the ones that fade. Maybe you have a thing for the very electric guy who's wrong. Couldn't be more wrong, but damn, he really lit you up if you were around him. And if he was a nice guy, you might have had the belief like, well, why would he like me? I mean, I don't know why the nice guy, and he, besides that, he didn't set off all the bells and, get me all jittery and all excited. And then at some point, you're always wondering, is it me? Am I too tall? Am I just too loud? Am I too, And the answer to that is no, of course not. You may not match with every person, but your personality is simply not too much. You're not too picky, too much, or too late. Something else is running the show. I'm going to explain, nervous system in the easiest possible way. And that is to say, this is sort of the gas pedal. Your nervous system is also kind of like the algorithm of your body. It includes your brain, your spine, your parasympathetic nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system, blah, 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 blah. We'll get into that in Simply Irresistible with enough information so that you understand it. I'm not going to overload you with a lot of stuff that really doesn't matter unless you're planning on doing brain surgery somewhere. And I don't think any of you are. So we don't have to worry about that part. So, the gas pedal, for instance, what the brain does, what the body does, what the nervous system does is it looks at all of the data that it has so far and makes a prediction on the future. What this does is it will tend to send you to the way that you are most familiar. Not the most comfortable, not the happiest,
Hmm.
not the way in which you want it to be, but the way that you are most used to, that feels the most normal to you.
Hmm.
So, the break part of the nervous system is the part that lets you rest, relax, and connect. That's the calm where love can actually get in. So, I when I talk to a lot of women in their dating, especially over 50, especially if they've been disappointed by guys who are doing stupid stuff online, like sending pictures you don't want to see, or, asking when the sex is 6 seconds after you connect, or whatever it is, you can really get annoyed. And if you've gotten annoyed several times in a row, what does that nervous system say? Hmm, annoyed is a state she's used to. So, you know what? The next thing we're going to do is annoying. So this is a very simplified version of it, but this is the part that you need to know. But you can change that with some focus. You can't think your way out of it. This all comes from the body. You can't think it. You have to do some physical, somatic breathing and somatic work to relax the nervous system so that the next time you're not completely freaked out over the nice guy. Now, I will confess on our third date, I totally freaked out. Here I was dating a really nice guy and I totally freaked out. I got totally nervous. The nervous part is normal. If you're going to be doing something different than you've ever done before, you may get nervous. You may get scared. People tend to think that if you're getting a really great guy, it should all be sunshine and roses and, you know, everything's all so perfect and we're going to have champagne and he's going to give me a ring on a pillow and all this stuff. That isn't what normally happens. If you're used to not so great treatment, when good treatment comes along, it may freak you out. And this is all subconscious. This is not you thinking. This is your nervous system reacting and talking to your body and telling your body that, this is weird. We don't know how to handle this. What the hell? What do we do next? Let's figure out a problem real quick. He's not 6 foot tall. That's a problem. Get away from me. Get away from me. I'm exaggerating, of course, but I'm trying to make a
Yeah,
point.
no.
And that isn't really an exaggeration because there are a lot of women that will insist on a guy who's 6 feet or taller. And then you know, they give up perfectly good men and say there's no men out there when the guy they really could have liked was 5'10". My and by the way, my dad was shorter than I was for most of my life, so I'm used to it. It wasn't a big deal. However, my husband's 6'3".
Mm.
I have a brother that's 6'4", big as our family. So I want to make sure that everybody understands this is not your fault. This is subconscious programming that happens to people. This happens in your body, it happens in your brain, it happens in your spinal column. This sends nervous signals all over your body. And then you can just, like, you know, whatever. Some people, let's see, the saying is like fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawn is the other one. Fawn is when you, like, slobber all over another human being without really good reason. Like you were talking to Tom Cruise all of a sudden and you'd never met him before, and you're just like, oh, you're the greatest, Tom, blah, 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 blah. That isn't useful. Um, so your body learned at some point that closeness led to some kind of pain. In some women, it was physical pain. In some women, it was the pain of distance. In some women, it may be the pain of nobody coming for me. It may be the pain of, you know, abuse or something like that. I tell people all the time, I know enough to help you if you're dealing with what in the business we call small t trauma. Small t trauma means um, this is not something like rape or sexual assault or kidnapping or physical abuse. That's big T trauma, the way people talk about it. And where you should actually be is with a trauma informed therapist. If you get some help there, then I will be happy to help you. But I want to make sure that people are going to the right area. Now, small t trauma could be something like I said this on one of the podcast episodes. Maybe some third grade bully told you you were too fat and ugly to ever be with anybody, and they don't want to be around you, and ooh, you smell, and all that, typical crap that third graders say. And that could have been inside you all this time, and you didn't even realize it. But if you were around anybody that reminded me you of that third grade bully, you'd just like close up and close inside yourself. Or maybe you want to fight instead because it's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. You might want to like go after him or something like that. My sister does that a lot. The whole fighting thing. Or maybe you do what I do. It's usually like, I'm just like a deer in headlights if somebody does something like that to me. It takes me a bit to like become conscious enough to call them out on whatever they're doing. So, yeah, so your body learned the closeness once led to pain. So now oh, dang it, I keep doing this. Your body now recognizes closeness is danger. This is an example, whether you want it to or not. This is a smoke detector doing its job. The trouble is, it can't tell the difference between real smoke and burnt toast. So it holds the wrong men and the right men at arm's length all at once. You keep safe from everything, including love. So your body, your brain, your nervous system, all of that remembers what hurt physically, psychically, emotionally, financially, all of that stuff. It remembers it. And again, it's usually subconscious. It's not usually right there. It's not you thinking, oh, the last time I was around a guy that reminded me of the third grade bully, I went ham on him. No, it's really more of like all of a sudden you react in whatever way is normal to you. This is how women choose the same man in a different outfit because familiar feels safe even when it isn't. It just feels normal. So now I'm going to do an exercise for us. Um, We're going to do this, and I'm going to demonstrate first, and then you guys can follow along. The first thing we do is we're going to do what's called an assessment tool. We're going to see where our body is in this time and space. It will vary from one day to the next. It will vary from person to person. This is your body, and none of it's right or wrong. It's just an assessment. So I'm going to look ahead here, and then I'm going to turn my neck as far as I can do it comfortably. I'm not trying to be that little girl from The Exorcist. I'm not trying to spin my head around. I am not trying to crank my neck and have a reason for the chiropractor. I'm just going to gently turn my head. And it's like, oh, about there. Now I'm going to pick a place on my wall that I can see so that I can mark it. In this case, I'm looking at a picture frame that's on top of my leather luggage. So I am going to then do it to the left. Now I can see the mic stand that's on top of my copier and maybe a little bit past that. So that is an assessment, and it just tells you where you are this moment in time. So I would like for you guys to do that right now. Being facing forward, turn to the right without cranking or hurting yourself, gently turn and notice a place on the wall or a window or a piece of furniture or something that you can go, oh, yeah, that's the place where I started. Okay, come back to center. Now I want you to go to the left. Again, a gentle movement to the left without hurting yourself, without cranking. Just a little bit of a stretch is okay. Okay, does everybody have that spot? Awesome. I'm going to do this picture for a second. Now what I'm going to show you how to do is, this is called havening. It's a new nervous system tool. It's a pretty well-known one. I'm going to come back a little bit so that you can see it. So here's how we're going to do havening. You're going to do, like, you can have your eyes open or closed. It really doesn't matter. But you're going to just take your hands and like gently trace over your hand. You can go up to your elbow if you want. This is a very gentle, soft movement. And you're like, I'm noticing my hand. Is my hand warm? Is it cold? Is it soft? Is it more muscular in my arm? Do I need some lotion? What's the temp? Do I feel any breeze on it? I have a ceiling fan going. Do you feel a little bit of air? You just softly, softly going up and down your forehead and your hands, the inside of your hands, your wrist. I can feel my watch. I can do this. Okay, we're going to do it for one more minute. Do it in between your fingers on both hands, the inside of your palms, the outside of your hands, your arms. Okay, that ought to be enough. Now, whoops, you can stop with havening now. Okay, now we're going to test again. This is another assessment. Again, slowly turn your head to the right. Can you see any further behind you? It's possible you may not. This may not be the best one for you. Come to there. Now turn to your left. Is it better on your left side? Can you see a little bit
Yes.
further back?
Yes.
You did? Good. Who did that work for? A little
Barbara.
extra movement.
Little teeny bit.
Barbara and Sharon, did it not work for you? It did work for you.
It
Okay,
worked,
good.
but my neck is messed up, so I didn't want to push it too much.
Understand. Mine is too. My chiropractor's tomorrow. Yes, Lisa. Did you have a question?
No, it worked for me.
Oh, okay, great. So, what does that exercise have to do with men? What we just did was we calmed the nervous system down a bit. And this is a tool. Havening is a pretty famous tool. And so a lot of people talk about it. So you can see that if you can turn your head further, that means your nervous system has let some of the tension go in your neck. It's not quite as defended. It's not feeling like it has to protect you so hard. It's feeling a little softer. We do a bunch of these now in Simply Irresistible. This is just one. The reason I showed you havening was because this is one that you can do, for instance, maybe before you write your next ad on a dating app, because this will make you feel a little less protected. So maybe your profile doesn't say things like, well, you need to be this and you need to be that. And if you're not this, then I don't want it. And blah, 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 blah. You know, you start sounding really like nobody's responding to that. So that is a good time to do it. You can practice this. You can do this when you're answering someone who may have reached out on an ad, or a guy who asks you a question in the grocery store or at church or wherever you happen to be. You can do this when right before you go on a date. I have a lot of other tools for that, but maybe you're getting ready to go to the date and you're like, I'm so nervous about this one. This is a great thing to do to help calm you down and make you think a little bit more rationally, not quite so fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. You can also do this on your date, because if you are at a restaurant, or even if you're sitting at a bar and you're just sitting there doing this, is he going to think that's weird? Probably not. You're perfectly normal. You can do it if you're at a job interview, for instance, and you can do it with your hands kind of, to your side, and it doesn't look weird or anything like that. What it does is just kind of calm you down so that you're not making the familiar answers, you're making the good answers. Does anybody have any questions with that? Okay. Whoops. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. So that's just one easy assessment, and it's one easy nervous system tool. You know what this is also good for? Having financial conversations. Say you need a better deal on your credit card. Try doing this and see if you, ahead of time, like you're doing a little havening before that, you can have a more coherent, logical kind of question. Have a better conversation. Just about any time you're nervous about something, that will help you out. So, as I was saying, your body doesn't release stored tension by thinking about it. You cannot ever think your way out of a nervous system issue, even if you have a PhD in it. If you're a neuroscientist, you still can't think your way out of it. You might have better, quicker answers, but you will not be able to think your way out of it. Here are a couple other suggestions. You don't have to do this now. I'm not going to make you demonstrate. I'm not going to demonstrate. Crying is an excellent way to soothe your nervous system. And I will use one other metaphor of saying, like, if you're petting a cat, there's a right way and a wrong way to pet a cat, right? You have to go with the fur, because that's how it feels good. That's how you feel good. Everybody feels good. If you try to pet the cat this way, the cat's likely going to try to scratch you and get away because it doesn't feel good. Nervous system, it kind of works the same way. You're just kind of petting your nervous system into feeling better. This is a great thing to do every day. It'll take you 2 minutes at most. It's a good thing because they do build up over time. You will never be completely free of the fight or flight or freeze or fawn away from you, because that's part of being human, especially at our ages. But it does have a cumulative effect. It helps. So getting back to crying, have you ever said, all I needed was a good cry? Did you know that's actually scientific? Crying releases chemicals that are much better out than in, and it releases oxytocin, endorphins. Being comforted while you cry is even better if somebody's around to do that for you, but it's not required. It's not an absolute. Just don't make crying something weak or something that you're trying to avoid doing. Now, maybe you don't want to do it in the middle of a church sermon. Maybe you want to get out into your car first. I could understand that. But if you need the tears to come, let the tears come. Okay. Anybody want to guess what the next one is? What the next process is that
Yelling.
will help you?
Yelling.
Mm,
Hollering. No.
mm, mm. You're going to like this one. You're going to thank me so much for this one. Orgasm. Yes, ma'am. Orgasm. We'll do it for you.
Let's
It's
take
one
care of
way that your
it.
nervous system will reset your body.
Mm.
It's a release, it's a chemical cocktail, oxytocin, safety and bonding hormone that softens your guard, endorphins, your natural mood lifters, like, why is that a bad thing? And a wave of deep calm. It is the opposite of the braced, guarded state. It's more like that rather than being guarded and, tight. No man is required. You can start tonight. You don't need equipment, but sometimes it helps. If you need equipment and you need lube and you don't know where to go, send me an email. I'll let you know some of my faves because,
Thank you.
there are some good ones out there. Anybody have a question about this one?
Nope.
Nope. All
Got
righty.
that one covered.
I'm so glad. Everybody hates that one, huh? Okay. What becomes possible? Walking into a date without rehearsing or bracing. And let me give you a little special advice here. You know, 3 of them that you can do by yourself, that you can do without me telling you what to do or anything like that. If I had to tell you which one, make it the orgasm. You don't have to, they'll all work. But when it comes to something like a date, I'm telling you, the orgasm will do it. You won't be rehearsing or bracing. If he gives you a compliment, you let it land. How many people are you around that you say, "Oh, I love your dress. It's beautiful. Oh, this old thing, I just put it on." Or, you say something about a guy says something about, "I really like the way you wrote your ad." And you kind of deflect it because it feels a little nerve wracking to get a compliment. We're not going to do that. Noticing the good man instead of the familiar one. And I would add a bullet point onto this is letting go of the familiar one a lot faster, if familiar means one that you don't want. Okay, now we're going to try this one more time, this assessment. And we're going to do the havening. You can do the orgasm, just don't tell me about it right now. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. So let's turn our heads to the right gently. No cranking. You probably can see a little bit further to the right than you were the first time you tried it. You may not be all the way back, but probably a little further. Mark a spot on the wall or the furniture or the window, whatever it is you're doing. And then come back to the center. Now go to your left. And again, gently, no cranking. Pick a place on your window wall furniture that looks you can mark. Now we're going to do havening again. Slow. Breathing deeply. Inside your hands. On the outside of your hands. Around your wrists. Inside of your arm. Okay, that ought to be enough. Take a deep breath in. Now let's turn to the right again. Did you get any extra movement? I did.
Barbara
How
says
about-
yes.
Great. Turn to the left. Okay. Did that work for everybody?
Yeah.
If it did not
bit,
work
but the-
for you, there can be a couple of things going on. This just may not be your exercise. There are lots and lots and lots, and that's part of the bonus that I give in Simply Irresistible is a whole list of things that you can try after we do most of them together. You could be thirsty, and here's one that's going to surprise you. You might be a little bit hungry. The brain and nervous system uses up more than 600 calories a day. Do you believe that? A lot of calories are used in thinking and pondering and working and nervous system work. So if you're ever going to be doing any ahead of time anymore with me or with somebody else, you don't have to eat like a whole bucket of stuff, but you can have a couple of crackers or an apple or something like that. And that might give you the extra juice that you need. So if that one didn't work for you, I'll let you practice the other two suggestions I made, the crying or the orgasm on your own a little bit later. And again, email
Laughing.
me if you need help with that.
The laughing actually worked well for me.
Did it? Laughing's a good one
Laughing,
too.
because you just let it go, and then I got all the way over there, and then it just wasn't that much more when it was just all the touchy stuff.
Well, and like I said, it's one out of hundreds of different kinds. There's so many different things that you can do. That one was the one I thought would probably have the best chance of working with everybody, but it's all a crapshoot sometimes. But do that if you do the crying or the orgasm, do the assessment first and see how well you think it works afterwards. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to talk a little bit about Simply Irresistible. And now that your nervous system is kind of calm, you'll be able to decide easily what works for you and what doesn't. We go live on July 14th. That's when the cohort starts. I have 2 people that are ready to start in it. So the good thing about coming in this time is there's a lot of personal attention. It's a group event. There are great people that join it, but there are not so many that you won't get very personal attention. So let me get to the program. Here it is. I don't think there will be more than 15. I'm limiting it to 15. But I don't think it's going to get that far. Okay, so the coaching starts. This is how we're going to do it so that you can find the one that you're looking for. This is the nervous system comment right here. After enough disappointing men, you do the sensible thing when you go on your next date and you brace. You brace for whatever's coming because you know it's not going to be any good. That's a nervous system thing going on that says, well, it's happened the last 90 times, so I'm sure it's going to happen this time. That's not true, but your nervous system believes it. So you've tried everything above the neck, and the wall lives below it. The wall meaning it's the body, it's not the brain. So, yes, we will do dating apps and profile optimization. That's something we'll do, but we'll do it after the nervous system work that we do. The first part is going to be all introducing about the nervous system. It depends on how many people are there and how schooled they are in this topic, whether we take 1 week or 3. It may take all 3 weeks, but you will come to this fully grounded with nervous system and how that works and how this is different from my just telling you how to write a good ad. You may have done therapy and talk-based coaching. That's great. I have nothing bad to say about that. But unless you have a very, very skilled therapist in nervous system work, the therapist will want to talk about something and then rather than experience or teach you how to experience differently. And they're rarely experts in dating. In fact, the last therapist I had wanted to hire me. She didn't have that down. We didn't get that far, but she said I should hire you. I said, yes, you should. And she never did. Mindset work and affirmations. Again, these are very good skills. I'm not knocking either one of them. They're good, but you have to get to the gap between what your body is allowing versus what your mind is doing in your affirmations. A lot of people, you've gotten this, I'm sure you've heard this advice from somebody somewhere, just put yourself out there more. You need to do more of that. If you're guarded now, then you're guarded with more. So
Right.
you're not less guarded, you're more guarded. So we have to work with that. This also, what this relates to is this will tell your intuition whether the guy is worth listening to or getting to know better. Because if you have a clearer nervous system, you're not automatically stamping them all as bad. You wait until you see something to indicate that, yes, I want another date with him. We're never looking to get married at an early stage. We're just looking like, do we want another date or not? And you'll be watching out for that stuff, but you won't be freaking out over it. Deciding that you're fine alone. Hey, listen, if you want to be alone, if you're somebody who said, I've had my relationship or I don't need the relationship, and you're really truly fine about it because that's the way you want to live your life, I'm okay with that. The problem is, if you're here, it's probably not what you really want. You're probably really looking for something else, and you're wisely getting some help. You've heard about my client, CJ, who is one of the 2 people. She has already been a client, but she's joining for some of this new information. Episode 53, if you haven't heard it, we talk about her experience in coaching. This is the one who she had trauma that she had to deal with in the beginning. She was working late and she called her husband and said, I'm starving. Do you mind bringing me something to work? I have to be here a while. And he said, sure. He left, got on his motorcycle, and was killed on the way to bringing her dinner. That was 11 years prior to her doing coaching. She did, I have to say, I was very proud of her. She did a lot of work with a trauma-informed therapist. And then when she was ready, she started working with me. And even then, we had a word, a kind of a safe word where I said, if we ever get into something you can't deal with, all you got to do is tell me and we'll slow down. So that worked for her. Now she's dating 6 guys. Because that's what she wants to do. It's not because she doesn't want to. She went from not having dated 11 years to juggling 6 guys because she just wanted to see what was out there. She has not to this day cracked open a dating app, not one bit.
Mm.
She just finds them all around her, just like, bees. So this is your dating life this year. Your shoulders drop. You walk into the date and you're like, you're just being yourself. You're not having to perform. You're not having to be too agreeable or too nice. If you don't want to be, you're respectful, but you're actually in the room and you're curious. You're kind of relaxed. The man says something kind and you let it land. You don't deflect. You don't analyze. That single women can do that forever. What did he mean exactly by blah, blah, blah? Men usually mean what they say, so you don't have to analyze it, but you let the compliment in. You're not exhausted. You come home from a date and you have energy to spare because you weren't having to perform in brace. You've heard all my patterns. Annette, another client, said I snagged on a tiny metaphor that she tossed off. I did. When she said one tiny little thing, I was like, this is going to be important for her. So we did this whole visualization and meditation, and she was quite pleased with that. So how it works. First, we're expanding your capacity through this nervous system work, and that's what it's doing. It is kind of petting the cat, taming the cat to the point where you have the expanded capacity to let love in. It's there, it's all around you, and it can be let in because we're doing gentle work, but we do it so that you feel safe. You may still feel nervous because it's different, but not nervous because you're scared or frightened. Clarity emerges. I will, till my dying day, say the reason that I put that ad on Craigslist that got 300 responses overnight, my intuition told me to do it. And I got that message because I was clear. My nervous system was clear, more or less clear. I mean, I don't know that they ever get really clear, but I had been working on it. So a lot of that was calmed down. So the clarity, that is so much worth more of anything, because if you get the message to put an ad on Craigslist, which I don't think you can do anymore, whatever message you get, if you're listening to it, that means everything. The strategies work, the practical tools. And like I said, we start here, we go here, and we do strategies. So you have room. We have a foundation. You discover what's keeping your heart guarded. Now, for all of you, it's going to be a little bit different exactly what it was that had you be feeling like you needed to be guarding, and that's fine. You'll learn to tell when your guard is protecting you and when it's limiting you. It has a dual purpose. It's good when it's protecting you. It's not so helpful when it's limiting you. We'll practice teaching your body when it's safe to stay open. I have an exercise we do at week 5 that I think is pretty dang brilliant because everybody freaks out over it. It's not embarrassing and it won't hurt you. It's just really useful for information. Then we rebuild our receiving capacity, real world application, integration, and celebration. And then after week 12, you get to be in there for the whole year, the rest of the year. I do coaching on Tuesday nights. You can come in every Tuesday night for the rest of the year if you want to and ask questions, as long as the newbies have time to ask theirs. Or you can show up when you just want to and have a specific question, or somewhere in between. It doesn't matter to me. I like more people in there. It's fun for me. But, if you've got stuff to do on a Tuesday night, then you don't have to be there. So here is the price. The price is for Simply Irresistible, the group experience. It's 3 payments of $600 or $1,697. What you get is a transformation. All of this is what leads to the transformation, but what you get is a transformation. A full year of somebody's coming in. A full year of group coaching. Hi there. Hi, Anastasia. Is that you?
Oh, I'm muted. Hold on. I gotta see how to unmute me. Where are the settings to get me
I,
off the? Oh, there.
you're not muted. We
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you.
It said it was muted. I'm so sorry.
No,
How are
no, no.
you?
We're great. We're actually finishing up. We were on
Oh,
Central Time. I'm wondering if you were on another time schedule.
I am. I live in California, so I am. I'm so sorry. I'm so bummed.
No, it's okay. I'll send you the recording. It's been
Okay.
fun. These ladies are fun. We're having a good time. What happened to
That's good.
Barbara? Did
I'm
Barbara
here.
disappear? There is Barbara.
Yep.
Hi,
Okay.
Barbara.
Hi.
And Sharon and Lisa.
Very
Uh,
cool.
Okay, so where I was going with this is a full year of weekly group coaching with me, 90 minutes every Tuesday, real time help all year long. The 12 weeks are the part where you're learning something new every week. The rest of the year, as I was saying, you can be in there as much as you want to. You can come whenever you have a question. That's up to you. You get to be there for support for an entire year because I think if you had information for 12 weeks and then I dropped you, you would probably get confused or you'd be trying to do something and you forgot what I said or you'd, not feel comfortable doing change work. So you have the year. You got a private 60-minute coaching session with me. You got the private sisterhood, which I am hoping to grow. It's starting out kind of small, but I'm hoping to grow it. And these are women doing this along with you. Every training, exercise, and nervous system practice that expands your capacity to receive. We just practiced some, Anastasia. We just did some. And you'll see this on the recording. But I have a lot more. If this one isn't the one that works for you that we demonstrated, I have a lot more within Simply Irresistible. I will do some swipe files for you for the text and messages real dating requires, so you're never staring at a blank screen. If that is something that confuses you. Now, I can't know every possible thing somebody will say that you need help with, but a swipe file means that I give you the potential answers for several scenarios and you can copy and paste. It's easy. The Dating After 50 Confidence Kit, a member only private podcast. This will come eventually. It's not going to be there in the first week. The private podcast is mostly going to be the recording that we did. So you can both listen to it while you're doing the yard work or walking the dog, for instance. And then you can come watch it if it involves activities you want to see. Some of the bonuses are pre-date column library. This is so that you can settle your body in 5 minutes before any date. And first date conversations for talking like a grown-up. Now, if you were well schooled and all that, you don't need my help. You don't need those things. But a lot of people get tongue-tied at some point and they want to know, like, well, do we have to talk about sex on the first date? No, you don't. So there are things I get about this. Now, the VIP version is $26.97 or 3 payments of $9.75. This is everything in the group experience, plus a few things here. So you get all of this plus this. 2 private 60-minute sessions with me. 2 VIP only breakthrough sessions. So whether it's one VIP person or 20, you'll all be in some VIP sessions. You will get a copy of my 300 response profile template that was on Craigslist, the one that brought me 300 responses overnight. And my husband was the very last one that I saw. And after we went out, 365 days later, we got married. So you get guided journal prompts also that help you carry the work between sessions so you remember what's important. I don't offer a guarantee on this because I want to tell you why. I can't guarantee another person. I can't guarantee that you're going to do everything that's on this list. I can't guarantee that, the other guy is going to pay attention, or that you pay attention to the guys that are worth paying attention to. There are no cash refunds because this work changes if you're all in, and the back door quietly tells your nervous system. What I can tell you is the women show up and do this, change how they love, and it's not a promise on the page. And if you had an issue, a problem, and you want to talk about it, I am always open to a discussion in making it right. So, what if you can't make all the live calls? Every session is recorded and available within 24 hours, and you'll have the private community, which is going to be on Facebook for this first time. I hope to be in a different place at another time, but it'll be Facebook for this one. So if you get busy and life happens, the work still lands. If you're over 60, is it too late? No. I was 58 when I got married the first time, and I'm not that far away from, I am far away from 60 now. I'm 65. I've done a lot of therapy and inner work. Why would this be different? It's different because nervous system work that is guarded, keeping you guarded, keeping your body guarded, is beyond thinking. Thinking will not solve it. It won't ever solve it. You can think about it day and night, and it will not solve it. It is beyond thinking. It helps if you've done therapy and inner work so that we have some shared language, and it shows that you have some openness to these ideas. But no, you don't have to. How is this different from other dating coaches? I am the only dating coach that I've found anywhere who starts with nervous system. I haven't found anybody else who does this. I had a dating coach tell me, well, we start with, everybody starts with a quiet meditation at the beginning. And I said, that's just so not what I do. That's like the very basic beginning of what we do. This is so much deeper, and it goes so much further. Is this a group program, and will I have to share personal things? It is a group. There's tremendous power in that. But when you hear another woman talk about what you've done, you're going to feel shifts. What other people experience can help you. If it's really something that is very deep and very personal, and you don't want to share with people, that could be the private coaching session that we talk about. Should I choose group or VIP? It just depends on which one you want. VIP is probably a little faster, but whichever you want. What if you're not actively dating right now? That's great. It's an ideal time to start. Does it take a whole year to learn dating? No, you'll know everything you need to know in 3 months. The rest of the year is for practice, feeling safe, and getting questions answered. Couple more testimonials. This is the one that I told you CJ talks about, my rock star client. And that is that page. Can I answer any questions for anybody from anyone? I'm seeing noses. Anybody have any questions at all about what we talked about before, or about Simply Irresistible? Nothing?
Nothing.
Now,
Not a thing?
not a thing.
Not a thing. Okay. Anastasia, do you have any questions? I know you came in late.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. That's not what I meant.
So the program, it helps you to be more open to a relationship once you go through the program? Is that
Yes,
what this is? Okay.
yeah, what is different with me that nobody else I've found does exactly what I do. Yes, we will talk about how to write a dating profile and stuff like that. That isn't hard, but that comes much later. What we start with first is building your capacity to receive. And if you have had experiences with men over your life, that haven't worked out for you, then your nervous system is kind of on radar, and it takes all of that information in like an algorithm, and it makes a prediction of what it thinks you want to do next. So I've used this example with them. My dad was a very good man, but when I was very young, he was very busy with work, and my three brothers and their athletics and my sister's athletics. And so I always felt like I was having to really work to get his attention. And he was always a little distant. So, how that affected me is when I grew up and I started to be dating age, the imprint on me is that men are distant. They just are. They're all distant. That's the way it works. That's the way my dad was. All men are distant. And so I kept picking distant men over and over and over again. So even when I made actual decisions that I didn't want a distant man, my body would decide for me, because anybody else would be freakish if they were a good man and they wanted to be around me. What was wrong with them? Because I'm used to distant men. So my body would kind of set that up. It's a very primitive system within your body, and there are ways um, of smoothing that out. You can't think out of it, but you can do some exercises, and they are cumulative over time. You'll never get rid of everything, but I will show you one real quick, and you can do it with me if you want. You look forward. Now
Okay.
turn your head to the right as far as you can go without hurting yourself. It's a gentle movement. It's not supposed to crank all the way. It's not supposed to roll all the way around like the kid in Exorcist. You're just supposed to go to the part you can see. So if you see this furthest point, it's on your wall or a piece of furniture or the window or something, mark that in your head so that, oh, I can see this far. In my case, I'm looking at a piece of art and I'm looking at the corner of the frame. So now I come back to center, and then I go to the left and I do the same thing, a gentle movement. It's perfectly normal if you can see more on one side than the other. There's not a problem with that. I can see in this case to my microphone and my tripod. I can see the light on it. Okay, so I'm going to come back. So now we're going to do, we'll do a little different one because these ladies have been doing this with me. So now we're going to do stand up, everybody. Stand up. We're going to do what I like to call the washing machine. Maybe you might call it a car wash. We're going to stand up like this. This, again, is not a huge cranking motion. You're not trying to hurt yourself. We're not trying to give extra business to chiropractors. We're doing this. You cross in front, both sides. You kind of swing a little bit at your hips, but you're still facing forward. Let's do this 3 more times. So this is 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now let's come back. Let's come to the middle. Now look forward again. Now look to the right. Again, gently, not cranking. Can you see any further behind you?
No.
Was that Sharon? Well, we got your neck problem. In the program, I have lots more. And then to the left. Both of those work for me, even though I am going to the chiropractor tomorrow. Did that work for you any better, Lisa, than the last one?
Not as well as this.
Oh, okay. Good information. Anastasia, did that work for you?
Yes.
Okay, so what that shows you is that doing that movement makes your nervous system feel safe. And so it lets go of some of its bracing energy that has probably built up over years because we're all women. And there are days we just have to freaking brace, don't we? For one reason or another. It may be that the saber-toothed tiger is coming for us while we're in the cave with our babies, or it could be that the boss just yelled at us for whatever reason. So that was one version. And the other one that I showed them was havening. Again, do the assessment tool because not all of them will work the same for you. And I have buckets and buckets of these, but turn to the right and see the furthest portion back there that you can see and kind of make a note of it where you can go. And then do the same to the left. We have other assessment tools too. This is not the only assessment tool we have. And then the other, what the tool we use is havening. So all we do is we just lightly and slowly rub our hands together. We can rub between our fingers on both sides. We can do our palms. We can do the outside of our hands, to our wrists, all the way up to our elbows. There's no particular way in which you have to do this to make it work. You're just being kind of soft and gentle with yourself. And it's sort of like petting a cat in the right direction. You know what happens if you pet the cat's fur in the wrong direction? They don't like it very much. Well, this is like petting the cat in the right direction. Okay, so that's enough. We can try it one more time. Everybody look to the right. I get a little more that way. A little more that way.
That's very cool.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is, I started making big aha moments last fall when I realized that the reason dating was different for me when I was 57 as opposed to when I was 17 or 27 or whatever age before was because I had been doing a lot of these kinds of exercises and some other ones with a group of women. And I had a fairly clear nervous system at the time. Now, I was still scared to death when I started going out with my husband. He had decided he wanted to marry me by like the second or third date. He was pretty quick. And that freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, I do
I
like
don't mind telling you. That freaked me the fuck out. Now, it should have somebody listening. You should be listening to that. You should be deciding that you need a little more information before you're agreeing to that. That's all the
Yeah.
good part. But it freaked me out amazingly. So, but then I realized after I got over that freak out that anytime you want to do something radically different than the way you've always done it, you have to do it radically different from how you've always done it. So I did it scared. And now we've been married 7 years and I have somewhere over 7,000 roses. I get 18 roses every week, still get them.
so
So
awesome.
it is, isn't it? And he made dinner every night this week. He got a new grill and I was super busy. So he just offered to make dinner every night. I was like, oh, thank you. It's the best. So I love to cook. I do a lot of cooking, but this week I was like, I just don't have it. So, any questions before we call it a night? Anybody have any questions on Simply Irresistible or yes, Lisa?
This may sound a little bit off. There's one gentleman I'm seeing a couple times, and my brain told me lean into this guy and try to overlook all the fears that you have and all that, just and enjoy him. So that's started and that's happening. Now I'm on a dating app and here comes another man. should I put some of those likes and behaviors online? Should I put that on pause? I just feel like I can't give my attention to too many people and keep it all together.
I think you probably know the answer to that. So I would, after we are finished, you try one of the three nervous system things that I taught you for now, because I taught you the washing machine too, and then ask yourself that. Because just a question out of the blue is very hard for me to answer in that case. I don't know the first one, if he's really good or not good. You probably don't know yet. After 2 dates, you probably don't know. And then the other guy, is he worth keeping? I don't know. That's something where if you clear your nervous system, your intuition will ring in loud and clear. Like when mine told me to put a stupid ad on Craigslist. I didn't argue with it because it sounded completely insane, but that came because my intuition was pretty clear.
One of my intuitions is from high school, where I had this wonderful man that liked me a lot and I liked him. But I saw this other guy down the road 6 miles and I thought he was really classy. So I started going out with him. So I lost number one and number two left me. And to this day, I'm 71. It's a sad part of my life that I wasted my time with that guy 6 miles down the road. He was no good. He was no good. And I I really resent that behavior of mine. I'm not saying number one would have worked out, but I would have liked to try.
That's probably what's informing what you're thinking right now about this other scenario. That's where you're like, should I do this or should I do that? Honestly, if we had been working together in a deeper way for 6 weeks, I might have some more input into that. But in this particular case, that's what this nervous system work is for. Do it a few times, and until you get a clear answer. If you don't have a clear answer, you can keep doing what you're doing until you get a clear answer, but just keep doing those exercises. You know, 4 of them now. You can do those before your date or before you have a conversation with him, either one of them, and you'll start getting some more clear information. The thing is, what I say this all the time, and I said it on one of the podcast episodes. I think maybe this is the one that comes live tomorrow. Nothing will tell you more about a man than time. Nothing. You can think you know what's going on with them, and you might be right, but nothing will tell you more than time. And what happens is that people will get very attached very quickly because it feels so good. And there's that nervous system thing again. It feels like all the rest of them, and it's kind of tricky, and it feels so good. And then you're like, yes, I'm all in. I'm all into this. And he turns out to be some kook or something. And that's just simply because time tells you whether he's worth sticking around or not. So you can do time and you can do nervous system, because of the nervous system stuff, if your intuition gets a hit that you really need to tell the second one that you're otherwise occupied right now, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Honesty is a good thing. You can tell them that. But if you don't have an answer yet, maybe just let it ride until you do.
Thank you.
That's nervous system in the real world. Anybody else have any questions? Anastasia, did I answer that for you?
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Great. Anybody else?
Would that be so bad if she wanted to date a couple guys? I mean, so
I
you did a
don't
couple
believe
dates, right?
so.
So you
I would
don't.
not. I would
I
not
would not.
believe that's a bad thing at all. What I wouldn't
Yeah.
do is tell them. It's not.
Right.
You're not lying. It's not a lie, but there's a whole round of men out there now that I see on social media that they get really worked up over women dating more than one person. Now, they are probably reading into that and thinking you're sleeping with more than one person.
Exactly.
And I definitely don't make that a suggestion. I mean, you're grown women, you can do sexually whatever you really want to do, but it doesn't work out well if you're sleeping with more than one at a time. The I would just say that if you wanted to go out with each of them a little bit more to see how it goes, I personally don't think you owe either of them any answers about that yet.
Mm-mm.
When you start the exclusivity conversation, what does this look like? Where are we going? It usually takes to like the second, third month to get to. And by
Yeah,
then,
usually
you
it's like a
probably
couple
have a
months.
pretty good idea. You're not going to be dating two guys for 2 or 3 months, both
Unless
of
you
them.
want.
Well, you can, but I'm just saying one of them's going to turn out to be not what you want. The other
Right.
one might turn out to be somebody you want to continue dating. But in most cases, if you got to 2 months and you weighed them on one of those scales of justice,
Mhm.
if they were weighing exactly the same, that doesn't happen very often.
Mm-mm.
There's going to be one that's going to be better than the other by that time. You're going to know who they are a little better. And remember, one of my phrases is, one of the things you're looking for is a man whose words and actions match over time.
Mhm.
By then, the words and actions need to match. And if they're not, then that tells you, I don't want him, because that's an important thing for me.
Because trust me, most guys are kind of lazy, so they won't be able to hold up that, being on their best behavior for that long.
Well, I think that's probably a belief, and you just sort of told on yourself a little bit, is to a belief that's
Mhm.
sneaking around in your brain. So forgive me for calling you out on it,
True,
but
true,
I think
true.
that's
Okay,
probably
got it.
right. It does happen. It happens. I'm
Yeah. Oh,
going to tell you
it happened
that
quite
you're
a few
right.
times.
It
Yep.
does happen. But that's what I'm saying. One or the other is going to start
Mhm.
pulling ahead in the race a little bit by that time. And it'll be a more obvious answer. But your nervous system may tell you tomorrow, like, ooh, no on him. I don't know why, but no. I don't know. So, any more questions? Okay. Well, we start on Tuesday. I hope to see some of you in there. If you have questions, hit me up at info@dianebrandonmoody.com and I will be glad to answer. And I think I'm going to go find a glass of wine.
Sounds
I need
good.
a little wine
Thank
in my life
you.
right now. Something, maybe it's too hot for tea. Maybe I'm going to do a little something, something. But anyway. So if there are no other questions, you know where to find me, and I'm happy to talk, and I will send out the recording tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you again.
Bye-bye. Good to see all
Bye-bye.
of you. Bye.
Bye.